Hey guys, welcome back to Hands On channel. Today I thought we would take a look at this Tailgator generator, kind of a follow-up video. Initially I put out a couple of review videos on this, and now that I've had it for a couple of years and I've put it through its paces, I wanted to tell you guys just basically what happened last time I was out at the off-grid homestead. Just recently we were out there, me and a buddy of mine, and it was pretty darn cold, so we were using a lot of, we ran the wood stove quite a bit, of course, almost continuously the entire time we were there. And the other thing we ran quite a bit was this little generator. But I noticed that, for one thing, it died on me a couple of times, and I was like, what's this about? And it just all of a sudden would die right in the middle of running. I mean, it was only running for a short time, like maybe a few minutes, so maybe it was still just a little cold or something like that. I don't know what was going on, but it also seemed like it was kind of hard to start. I mean, I was having to pull it like 5 or 6 times, and usually this thing starts up on the second pull, third pull most, So anyways, I also noticed that the pull start mechanism started feeling a little wonky. I don't know what was going on. It just felt kind of gravelly and rough as I was pulling it. Now, again, I was at high altitude and 8,700 feet, and also it was pretty darn cold. So maybe the grease inside of there was reacting a little weird or something to the cold environment there. I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet. I'm going to pull the side cover off. We're going to take the spark plug out, see if it's clean, what it looks like. Maybe it needs to be replaced. We're also going to check the air filter just because out there on the off-grid homestead there's a lot of wind and a lot of dust. So it could just be that maybe the air filter that I installed in there is getting a little gummed up. Maybe needs to be taken out and cleaned again. I don't know. So let's get you pulled in here and we'll take a look and see what we find. All right, let's take this side cover off right quick. Looks like 5/16. So you got to remove these two here off the gas tank. I'm not sure if I'll have to take the gas tank all the way off to do this. Probably not. Looks like I can just lift it up a little bit there. There's several of these, probably 4 at least. There's one hidden up in here. And 2 more at the bottom here. Now let's take a look what's going on in here. Okay. Okay, so another thing I noticed that was when I would release my pull rope, it was just recoiling very slowly. So I'm thinking that may just be a lubrication issue. I thought there would be 2 pawls in there, but I'm only seeing 1. So unless one has broken off, but I didn't see anything fall out. So perhaps it only has that 1 pawl. We're going to try to, but you can see how if you pull it real hard out of the hole like that, the pawl is not engaged. So you've got to engage the pawl first and then pull real hard, and that should hopefully prolong the life of this thing. To me, this is just, it still feels pretty stiff, like it's not recoiling as fast as it should be. So I think my only problem with this is a lubrication issue. So I'm going to get some lubricant, probably just some spray lube, and spray it in there and see if that doesn't straighten that out right quick. Using this Super Tech stuff. It's sold at Walmart, pretty cheap. So we're going to try to get some up in the pawl area here. And I'm not really wanting to douche my rope down, so I'm going to have to figure out how I can get back behind that. Right now I'm just lubricating the pawl area. Let's see what happens. So I can see a little bit of dried up grease or something right there. And this could be my problem. Okay. And it's not recoiling any better. But I see a little slot right down here where it looks like I can get some get my spray tip down inside of there and not get my rope all soaking wet with oil. Although if it does get a little wet, it's not the end of the world. Okay, so I'm going to try to spray this right here. Okay. Okay, that seems to have helped a little. So I'm going to let that soak for a while. I may recoat it again before I put it back together. But that looks pretty good. So let's say that you pulled your cover off and you couldn't get this thing fixed because the pawl was broken or something like that. One thing you could do is you find the appropriate size socket, and you got to figure out which way this thing turns, and as I pull it, it's turning clockwise. So what you would do is get a drill, not an impact driver. You'd want to get a drill and that size socket, and you can actually just use that socket right there to start this thing. So you'd put the drill on it, rev it up, get it going. Once, you know, the trick to that is, though, as soon as the engine fires, you need to pull that off of there so that, you know, your socket doesn't get stuck on there. Another thing I thought about was that I could possibly make one of these old style, you take a pulley and you put a notch in it like the old boat motors used to be. If you guys are old enough, you may remember that. And basically what you do is you just tie a rope around the pulley and you pull it out, and as you pull, it hits that slot and it releases the rope so that it doesn't get all tangled up and, you know, pull your hand into the motor or anything like that. So if your pull starter goes bad on this and you can't get parts for it, don't throw it away. There are things you could do to get the thing running. All right, next up, we're going to pull this spark plug off, and if you'll be real careful with this, hopefully your wire won't break. Just grab it right here. Don't grab it over here. Just kind of wiggle it back and forth, and it pops right off, no problem. Now, I can't remember if I ever changed this plug out. I talked about it, but I think I just kept the original plug in there because it was working just fine. And that's a 13/16. So we're going to break that loose. You could use a socket. I just don't have one right here. So we're going to break that loose, take a look, see what we got here. Can't remember if I put the NGK in this or if it was the other one. Nope, still got the torch model. Oh yeah. Yeah, she's got some time and some hours on her. So we're going to replace that spark plug with a new one. We're going to try to get us an NGK or something else that's equivalent. You know, motorcycle two-stroke type spark plug. It'll be better than this thing. I think for now, though, just because I don't have one on hand, I am going to go ahead and clean this up and throw it back in and see if that's the only problem as far as the starting issues goes. If it is, you can kind of see, hopefully, let me get you focused in here. Hopefully you can see that. It's got quite a bit of black carbon buildup on there. So we're going to clean this up for now and just put it back in to see if that's the problem. Either way, I'm going to go ahead and buy a new spark plug because it's time. And if this one still works, I'll probably hang on to it for a spare just in case you know, I need it later in the future or something to get me through a bad situation or whatever. All right, we got our spark plug all cleaned up here. Looking pretty good. So now we just got to throw everything back together and see how we did. And I am going to check the air filter also, but hopefully you know how to do that. You just take the side cover off and look at it and see if it's dirty. And if it is, you clean it up. So I probably will be doing that, but I'm not going to film it just because I figure you guys are smart enough. You probably know how to do that. So snug that up. We're going to inspect inside of here. Everything looks good, but just check it out. These spark plug boots are one of the things that people complained about being a problem with these. So just be aware of that. Okay, and just so you know, this thing really smoothed out quite a bit. I think that was my only problem, was a lubrication issue. So I won't know till I put it back together. You can see I lubed the heck out of her. So we're going to stick this back in place. I'm going to tip it up a bit so I can see it a little better, and there's oil dripping everywhere. That's good. Okay. Yeah, not very hard to work on. I wasn't sure what I was going to find when I pulled the side cover off. Some of these, you can actually get into a situation where the the spring of the thing will come undone, and you know, it's just not a fun deal. We'll start all these by hand first. Another thing, another little complaint about this thing, the fuel valve doesn't have, maybe it had a sticker at one time, but it's gone now, so be aware of that. Your stickers are going to fall off this thing, and then you won't know whether it's choked or whether the fuel line's on or not, whatever. So, okay, this one's going to be a little harder to get to. Okay, we're just going to give that a couple of pulls and see how it feels. Oh, a lot better. Oh, she's trying to fire up. Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's what it was. That plug, and this thing was dirty. So guys, just so you'll know, this is how you get into the side here for your air filter. You just take these 2 screws out and check it out. And I'll just show you right quick. I did a little mod on this, and it made it a lot better. The factory air filter that they put in these guys is not very good. So I made my own air filter out of some foam, the same kind of foam you might see in like a camera or a firearms case. Oops, now I just got flagged probably because I said firearms, but you see here, I just put this filter in like this. The original filter it set in this spot. Here, let me just show you. Here's how the original one set. You can clearly see dirt and air could get around that. So it's looking a little dusty in there. I'm going to wipe all that down, and we're going to take her outside here and see if it'll fire up. I'll just keep this one in here for a spare in case I need it. But yeah, we're going to clean all this up right quick. Just wipe it down. Any dust that gets past that filter, you don't want to get in your carburetor. So clean all that up. And I will go ahead off camera, clean this up with some soap and water and put just a little bit of 30 weight or 10W30 oil on there to soak that down to catch the dirt. But heck, it's doing pretty good. You can see it's doing a good job. So guys, that's about it until we can take it outside here and fire it up. I'm excited. I thought I was worrying that my little Jenny here was on its last leg or something. Thought I wore it out already, but it turns out it just needed a little bit of attention here in the maintenance department. And the funny thing is I not too long ago I did some maintenance on this and did a lot of these same things, but apparently it needed it again. So guys, let's go take it outside here and fire it off. See how we did. All right, guys, that was it. So if your Harbor Freight Tailgator starts running a little rough and hard to get started, just remember what I taught you here. Just change the plug out, and also if your pull starter gets a little rough like that, probably just needs a little lubrication. Maybe if you get to it before it's too late, it might not be destroyed. So appreciate you tuning in, guys. Hopefully this was helpful for you. And if you don't mind, hit the thumbs up. That helps the channel out. And until then, we'll see you next time.